With Inglo as the foundation and Maya as the brain, we aren't just a step ahead, but light years, setting some benchmarks.
They opened the doors, and the global auto industry stopped to stare. Inside Mahindra's newest factory in India, engineers didn't just build electric vehicles, they rewrote how they're made. From AI-driven robots to a nerve center that thinks faster than Wall Street, what's happening inside this plant isn't just innovation. It's a warning shot to rivals worldwide. This isn't your average assembly line. This is where the unthinkable becomes real. And what they found inside could change manufacturing forever. City of Circuits. Step onto the observation deck, and the first thing that hits you is the scale. Maps can't prepare you for it. The Mahindra EV plant sprawls across nearly 3 square kilometers, stretching far beyond the edge of vision. It doesn't feel like a factory. It feels like a city, one with its own roads, buses, and silent machines gliding above the ground. This place runs on more than just electricity. It runs on algorithms, sensors, and a belief that India can build the future, not just import it. The engineers call it a digital karkhana, an old word for artisanal workshop, now reimagined for robots and electric dreams. At the western end of the site sits a building larger than a dozen football fields. Inside, raw metal coils become SUVs without a single person ever touching the frame. The choreography is hypnotic. Robotic arms pivot in unison, sparks fly, but never randomly. Carriers line up like synchronized swimmers, gliding through the plant, with precision timed to the millisecond. This isn't luck. The entire sequence was rehearsed in digital simulations long before the first shovel hit the ground. But size alone isn't what makes this place different. Every square meter whispers a design philosophy. Floors are polished not by janitors, but by robots that sweep every 60 minutes. Lightweight AGVs hum quietly past, towing loads heavier than most cars. Even the air is controlled, filtered, cooled, and kept dry to protect battery components from microscopic moisture. There's no yelling, no chaos. Light strips on the walls do the talking. Green means all systems go. Amber signals an inspection. Red means something's gone wrong, and someone's already fixing it. This megafactory is part of Mahindra's 4,500 crore rupee investment into a broader 16,000 crore commitment, which spans into 2027. But the money is not what's bold. It's the strategy. Most car plants throw people at problems. This one bets on software. Instead of building one perfect line and sticking with it for decades, Mahindra designed a system that can evolve fast. Rival factories may take a year to retool for a new model. This one, just a few weeks. The early numbers are shocking. Equipment effectiveness has touched 92%, far above the global EV norm. Car bodies are completed in less than 50 seconds. Over 1,000 robots work in coordination, chatting across a private 5G network, feeding real-time data into a cloud brain. It tracks torque, temperature, and wear patterns down to individual bearings. Maintenance no longer runs on shifts. It runs on seconds. The silence is the final surprise. No pounding pistons, no groaning presses. Conversations carry across entire rooms. Visitors often say the loudest sound is their own footsteps. This is shocking. For Mahindra's engineers, the quietness is a feature, not a byproduct. It sharpens their senses. One hiss, one click out of place, and they know something's off. Then there's the workforce. Small in number, but big in ambition. Mahindra is pushing for 25% gender diversity on the shop floor. rare for heavy industry in India. Company believes diverse minds solve problems faster. By the time you complete one loop around this living circuit board, two things stick with you. First, everything has been calculated. Second, somehow, nothing feels clinical. Wall murals painted by robots showcase Wally tribal art. The cafeteria buys grains from local farmers, tracked through blockchain. It's a strange harmony, futuristic yet rooted, global in ambition yet unmistakably Indian. And this is only the beginning. Robots in unison. Step into the press hall, and it feels like a sci-fi set caught mid-action. Sheets of high-strength steel slide into presses with surgical precision. Every strike is guided by cameras that make 40 corrections per second. You don't just watch it, you feel it. The machines aren't working, they're performing. Overhead, the first pieces rise and float toward the body shop. Here, more than 500 robots move like dancers, not machines. Two arms grab the left and right panels and bring them together with magnetic locks. Laser welders ignite for just over a second. Embedded sensors check the weld strength in real time. If anything's off, the piece is rerouted. No delay, no debate. Above it all, a massive digital screen wraps around the mezzanine level. This is the nerve center. Every press, every robot, every shuttle appears as a glowing icon. If a tool starts heating beyond its threshold, a ping hits the technician's smart badge. They intervene, not in hours, but in the 7-second pause between jobs. This system wasn't imported from Silicon Valley. It was co-developed with an Indian startup. It's proof that the country isn't just building EVs. It's building the ecosystem to support them. Dimensional scans take place every few seconds. Hundreds of data streams converge. Torque values, vibration signatures, and laser scans. AI models watch for drift. Not just visible errors, but microscopic ones. It can trace a wobble back to a specific feed pressure or a misaligned jig. Defects haven't just dropped. They've been cut in half compared to previous generation lines. Material logistics, fully autonomous. Mobile robots race across the floor, coordinating like a swarm. Overhead, crane-mounted AGVs glide with entire car bodies. It's fast, it's fluid, and it never collides. It looks like chaos, but every move is calculated. Mid-shift, a ripple of lights flashes overhead. The line switches from a two-motor SUV to a high-performance AWD version. No humans reconfigure tools. Robots grab different kits from storage. The whole system resets in under 4 minutes. This flexibility means Mahindra can juggle models without clogging warehouses or freezing assembly schedules. Watch long enough, and even the skeptics fall quiet. In most factories, decisions crawl through chains of approval. Here, the software takes charge. Even torque values are logged to blockchain, so every clamp, every weld, every step can be traced for the vehicle's entire life. Sustainability runs through every detail. Robots recover braking energy to lower the plant's power needs. Waste heat from cooling loops warms the offices nearby. Not a watt is wasted. The entire plant runs on renewable power, either generated on-site or purchased through green contracts. The human team? Fewer than 30 people per shift. They don't build cars with tools. They manage the AI that builds them. Each wears smart visors that project repair manuals the moment something goes wrong. No oily overalls, just tablets, crisp uniforms, and the quiet focus of engineers who speak the language of machines. Heart of the battery. Step through an airlocked portal into the battery assembly wing, and the temperature drops to 22 degrees Celsius with 40% humidity. These controlled conditions shield LFP blade cells supplied by BYD, each slender slab nearly a meter long but barely a centimeter thick. They arrive in climate-sealed cassettes that link seamlessly with Mahindra's patented pallet system for geometric accuracy. The line is one of the most compact battery manufacturing setups on the planet, yet it yields packs that promise more than 500 kilometers of range on a single charge. Compactness comes from skipping modules. Instead of grouping small pouches into larger frames, Mahindra's engineers adopted a cell-to-pack design that pushes cell occupancy from 66 to 77% of internal volume, adding roughly 29% energy density compared with conventional packs. Robotic handlers slide each blade cell into a skeleton, housing without human touch. Cameras inspect for micro-scratches, invisible to human eyes. If detected, a pusher sends the cell down a reject chute for regrinding and recycling. Once all cells nest, hidden terminal welding begins. Laser heads zip across bus bars, creating thousands of fusion points in seconds. Infrared cameras measure joint temperatures to confirm metallurgical bonding. The pack then proceeds to potting, where thermal interface gel is injected through micro valves to spread heat evenly during extreme acceleration or fast charging. While machines work, a mezzanine control room tracks every pack's birth certificate, cell ID, weld energy, and trace moisture content. This database travels with each vehicle for life, enabling service technicians to predict aging years ahead. If future chemistries emerge, the pallet system is modular enough to accept sodium-ion or solid-state form factors without retooling the core conveyor. Safety tests are merciless. Each pack is shaken at frequencies replicating India's roughest highways. It is dunked under 1 meter of water for half an hour to validate IP67 ingress resistance. Thermal runaway drills follow, where heaters elevate a sacrificial cell to 250 degrees Celsius. Sensors expect the system to isolate that cell within milliseconds, vent gases safely, and keep adjacent cells below 80 degrees Celsius. Only after surviving all this does a pack earn approval to meet its chassis on the final assembly line. But sustainability threads through the hall as tightly as copper bus bars. Overhead skylights diffuse natural light so LED arrays can dim automatically. Waste heat from laser welders' routes to a lithium bromide absorption chiller that cools the dry room air, closing the loop on energy. Spent solvents run through a proprietary recovery skid that extracts 97% solvent for reuse. The remaining residue is sent to a cement kiln as an alternative fuel. Workers here wear anti-static suits, but no respirators because emission-free sealants replaced older hydrocarbon mixtures. Mahindra says future lines could be entirely VOC-free, positioning India among leaders in green battery manufacturing. And because the assembly is fully automated, the company claims it uses 25% fewer consumables per kilowatt-hour than legacy processes in China or Europe. Visitors often ask why Mahindra Automotive chose LFP over high-nickel chemistries. The answer: safety, cycling stability, and cost. Blade cell's long form factor resists thermal runaway while delivering up to 3,000 charge cycles. Coupled with sodium-ion research already underway at the group's R&D center outside Chennai, the company believes it can democratize EV ownership without reliance on scarce metals. As packs roll out for marriage with ready chassis, you glimpse the broader vision. Once every few hours, a yellow beacon flashes and the conveyor pauses. A robotic arm fetches a test pack to a glass box at the line's end. There, engineers fast charge to 80% in 20 minutes, drain it under a simulated drag race, then fast charge again. The pack must retain performance within a 5% window. If it passes, the line restarts. Failures prompt an automatic pause to identify root causes upstream. Continuous learning keeps raising the bar, day after day. The digital watchtower. While mechanical marvels capture attention, the real magic sits in a glass cube called the command suite, perched above the factory floor. 20 engineers lounge in cinema-style seats, yet their eyes rarely leave ultra-wide displays curving like flight sim cockpits. Data from 12,000 sensors flows into this suite, forming a live digital twin of every machine, every panel, every battery. A single dashboard can zoom from a satellite-like map of the entire Mahindra factory to a weld seam's current trace. Tap a weld icon, and you see amperage versus time. Swipe, and you watch last night's CCTV frame overlaying robot torch movement. The objective is zero surprises. If a gearbox vibrates beyond baseline, AI flags it, predicts bearing wear within 48 hours, and schedules a 90-second maintenance slot between body load cycles. Edge computing clusters built on NVIDIA GPUs crunch video and vibration analytics on-site, kicking exceptions to a private cloud for deeper model retraining. Latency stays under 60 milliseconds, fast enough to abort a bad weld before sparks fly. That saves steel, paint, and reputational risk, a trifecta that traditional after-the-fact quality checks cannot match. Yet the Watchtower is not just about machines. HR dashboards overlay shift attendance, skill matrices, and ergonomic sensor feedback. If fatigue sensors in exoskeleton vests report rising strain, supervisors rotate tasks proactively, protecting workers' health and meeting ISO 45001 targets. Safety alerts stream in too. When a visitor strays outside the yellow line, LiDAR cameras flag the incursion and gently slow nearby AGVs until clearance returns. Cybersecurity sits in a side bay where analysts run packet inspections and encryption audits. The factory uses a zero-trust model. Even a torque gun authenticates to the network with a rotating key. Monthly red team drills simulate ransomware hits. Lessons feed continuous hardening. This digital vigilance matters because the line's IP is invaluable, not just to Mahindra Automotive, but to India's strategic drive to own EV technology. Real-time energy dashboards draw equal attention. Solar rooftops, biogas units, and a 40 megawatt-hour lithium titanate storage farm stabilize the campus grid. Algorithms shift heavy loads like paint shop ovens to midday when solar peaks, trimming draw from the state utility at night. Water loops show kiloliters harvested from rain against kiloliters consumed for cooling, proudly staying positive in monsoon shortfalls. The suite can even forecast tomorrow's renewable generation and preheat soaking tanks minutes earlier to ensure color adhesion in the first shift. Every insight cycles back to continuous improvement. At 3 p.m., teams gather for the daily Kaizen Pulse. Big screens map anomalies, countermeasures, and gains. An issue in Torque Station 17 might spawn a software tweak pushed live that evening. What once demanded weeks of analysis now resolves in hours, compressing learning cycles and fueling a culture of rapid iteration that startups envy. All this instrumentation might sound impersonal, yet employees speak of the Watchtower with pride. They know every red dot vanquished on a dashboard translates to safer cars on public roads. The design ethos views transparency not as surveillance, but as empowerment, giving people the data they need to excel. From this vantage, the Mahindra factory feels less like an assembly plant and more like a living organism where sensors are nerves, robots are muscles, and the command suite acts as brain and eyes. The convergence of bits and atoms is so tight that disrupting one threatens the other. Yet that same integration is the very source of resilience, enabling real-time healing before faults escalate. Step outside the bustle, and you notice solar glass glinting over parking canopies. Here, every square meter of rooftop hosts photovoltaics feeding a microgrid that powers the line. Mahindra's architects embedded sustainability protocols from the first concrete pour to the last coat of paint. The site claims water positivity, harvesting monsoon runoff, recycling grey water, and piping treated effluent back into cooling towers. Start with concrete, a low-carbon mix using fly ash from nearby power plants, reduced embodied CO2 by 35%. Paint ovens siphon waste heat into an adjoining community greenhouse, growing hydroponic greens for the cafeteria. Wind catchers funnel outside air through evaporative pads, trimming HVAC demand. Even the forklifts drink electrons from rooftop solar, their lithium iron phosphate packs charging during shift breaks. Environmental victories also appear in quiet numbers. A life cycle analysis shows each electric origin SUV rolling out of Chakan carries 42% less embedded carbon than Mahindra's diesel flagship from a decade ago. Add the savings during vehicle use, zero tailpipe emissions, lower PM 2.5, and the factory's impact on Pune's air quality compounds daily. Circularity initiatives run deep. Scrap aluminium from stamping is baled and sent back to a local smelter, returning as coil within 10 days. Defective blade cells head to an on-site recycling pilot that recovers lithium, iron, and phosphate salts at 91% purity. Even battery pack crates are modular, built from recycled ABS that disassembles without adhesives, ready for another life cycle. Energy audits reveal peak power factor at 0.98 thanks to smart inverters and synchronous condensers. Should a grid outage occur, the 40 megawatt-hour battery farm takes over within 60 milliseconds, ensuring the weld line never misses a beat. Meanwhile, AI schedules ovens and compressors to shift heavy consumption towards sunny hours, shaving peak demand charges and cutting strain on Maharashtra's grid. The factory also measures social sustainability by sourcing 85% of non-battery components from Indian vendors. Mahindra Automotive creates jobs while shrinking freight emissions. Supplier scorecards give extra weight to those investing in renewable power or wastewater treatment, nudging the ecosystem upward together. Perhaps the most ambitious experiment is regenerative braking on the convoy of in-house AGVs. When descending the slight gradient between the press shop and the battery wing, each AGV sends energy back to the microgrid, enough to light the office block for 30 minutes daily. It is modest, yet symbolic, every joule valued. Environmental specialists calculate that by 2030, the plant's cumulative carbon avoidance could reach 2 million tons, compared with a coal-powered, water-intensive baseline. That figure equates to planting over 90 million mature trees. Numbers like these turn policy speeches into lived reality for workers who see solar arrays sparkle above their heads each morning. Humans in the loop. Automation headlines often overshadow the people behind them. Yet walk the Mahindra factory floor and you meet a workforce unlike any predecessor. 30-year-old Shivani, shift lead in welding, studied mechatronics at a government college 50 kilometers away. She commands a hall of 500 robots through a tablet, tweaking parameters while wearing a sari under her safety vest. Stories like hers multiply. Management's target is 25% women on core production roles, a figure that would double the national average. Recruitment favors aptitude over legacy experience. Applicants complete a virtual reality assessment that gauges spatial reasoning and situational judgment inside a simulated press shop. Successful hires then join a paid 12-month EV artisanship course covering robotics, high-voltage safety, and soft skills such as Kaizen facilitation. The result? Technicians comfortable juggling code snippets and torque specs in the same breath. Mentorship programs pair fresh graduates with veterans from Mahindra's older Nashik plant. Over coffee, they exchange tricks: how to read an acoustic profile, how to spot subtle jig wear. These interactions preserve hard-won craft knowledge while cross-pollinating new digital methods. On ergonomic fronts, wearable exosuits support lumbar muscles when technicians bend to swap electrode caps. Sensors embedded in gloves track pressure distribution, flagging misuse that could spawn repetitive strain. Break rooms feature circadian lighting to fight shift work fatigue, and prayer spaces accommodate varying schedules so spiritual practice fits around production, not vice versa. Psychological safety matters too. Every morning, teams gather for a 5-minute huddle. The agenda: share yesterday's wins, highlight risks, propose improvements. Managers listen more than talk, and suggestions feed directly into the factory's Jira board. No idea is too small. One intern recently proposed rerouting compressed airlines to reduce tool idle time. Within a week, savings reached 3 kilowatt-hours per unit. Mahindra also embraces the community beyond its gates. A Skills Academy bus, equipped with CNC simulators, tours nearby villages, offering high school students a taste of robotics. Scholarships funnel top performers into vocational programs, cementing a talent pipeline that stays local. During festivals, volunteers deliver solar-charged lanterns assembled from scrap cells, proving that circular design can uplift surrounding hamlets. Safety statistics validate the culture. The plant logs a recordable incident rate far below the automotive industry action group benchmark. Each near miss triggers a root cause workshop within 24 hours. And because every torque wrench and shuttle logs digital breadcrumbs, investigators unravel incidents quickly, implementing fixes before the next shift resumes. Career ladders stretch far. A line operator can specialize in data analytics or sustainability auditing through online micro-degrees sponsored by Mahindra. This fluid mobility keeps attrition low and cultivates ambassadors keen to evangelize EV tech across India. Finally, wages reflect new realities. While robots carry heavy loads, humans now create value through judgment and creativity. Skills management rewards with performance-linked pay. Engineers say they feel more like pilots than operators, steering flows of energy and information. There is pride in knowing that an SUV rolling off the line might soon conquer the Himalayas without a single gram of exhaust soot. Trial by data. Quality at the Mahindra factory is not a gate at the end. It is a gauntlet woven through every meter, yet the climax still takes place in a silent hall called the Validation Vault. Here, completed SUVs roll onto dynamometer rollers, flanked by acoustic chambers. Microphones map engine-equivalent whines, tire harmonics, and even the click of indicator stalks. A spike above baseline leads to side panel realignment or software dampening before shipment. Next comes the infamous rain cyclone. Jets blast 300 liters per minute at every gap, while the rollers replicate highway speeds. Engineers search for leaks using thermal cameras that detect evaporative cooling on wet spots. Fail the test, and the vehicle loops back for gasket replacement. Undercarriage inspections follow. A high-definition camera array photographs the chassis in 0.3mm resolution, comparing images to a golden master via Edge AI. The system flags any welding spatters or sealant smears. A faulty part triggers an immediate root cause drill down. Was it the robot weld path? Material thickness deviation? Operator override? The answer emerges in minutes because every station logs parameters to a common data lake. Battery integrity receives equal scrutiny. Packs undergo DC fast charge to 80% at 400 amperes. Temperature sensors embedded in cooling plates must stay within narrow limits. After discharge cycles, engineers compute performance fade. Any outlier triggers pack disassembly for cell-level autopsy. Lessons feed neural nets that tweak laser intensity or pH of potting compounds upstream. Crash simulation uses 6-axis sleds, imparting up to 30 G. Accelerometers inside dummies send live data to the command suite. Body structures must absorb energy within predicted corridors. Deviations prompt finite element model updates that in turn adjust stamping dies or welding sequences. One of the most dramatic stations is the flame tunnel. Though EVs lack petrol, they still face fire risk. Each SUV wheel hub carries a heat pad that ramps to 300 degrees Celsius, stressing tire compounds and wiring looms. An array of gas sensors must remain under threshold, proving that seals and routing protect the cabin air. Final sign-off rests with a trio: AI, human inspector, and customer surrogate. The AI crunches sensor data against statistical thresholds. Human eyes inspect touchpoints, panel gaps, paint gloss, infotainment lag. The customer surrogate drives the car onto an outdoor course with potholes, speed bumps, and a simulated traffic jam. Only then does the Mahindra factory release the vehicle identification number into the National Registry. Defect rate goals read aggressive, less than 1 per 10,000 units in initial field reports. To reach that, the team embraces transparency. Every week, they publish quality dashboards on the company intranet, letting marketing, finance, and design teams view raw numbers. Peer pressure from non-manufacturing colleagues drives speedy closures of red flags. Within 6 months of pilot production, first-pass yield reached 98%, an internal record. Regulators also benefit. Mahindra submits automated traceability reports to India's Automotive Research Association portal, slashing audit lead times. Blockchain-secured logs assure authenticity, exporting India's regulatory environment into the digital age. By embedding data at every turn, the Mahindra factory flips quality control from reactive to predictive. The mantra echoing across the vault walls says it all. Every byte protects a life. Here, technology and conscientious intent converge, so customers drive away not just thrilled, but safe. The unorthodox approach is implemented at the newest Mahindra factory, which to some seem unthinkable, especially compared to other automotive factories, work in unison to create the best experience for the customers. In doing so, it has earned a reputation that makes others want to emulate the formula that has created such success. So, what's your take on Mahindra's futuristic EV factory? Drop your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives like this.